Logan was directed by James Mangold. It is the first Wolverine movie to be rated R. Oh man, it was worth the wait. Welcome back to my Deadpool/Wolverine series in the build-up to Deadpool and Wolverine hitting theaters July 26th. I've already covered the majority of them so far. I just have this one and Deadpool 2 coming up. But what a time it was to rewatch this. I remember the first time I sat through this in the theater and I was just in awe. And needless to say, James Mangold knows how to make a damn good movie. And Hugh Jackman knows how to say farewell to one of his most iconic roles. Oh wait. He's not, is he? You know what? I joke about this, but everybody, when they say this is their last hurrah, this is their retirement, I don't believe it unless I see it. And honestly, in the case of Hugh Jackman, I'm glad he's not retiring. Nobody else can play Wolvie. Alright, so we're in the near future, 2029 to be more precise. And Logan is old, weather-beaten, and weary. And we actually see him caring for an even older and ailing Professor X, once again played by the amazing Patrick Stewart. They're hiding out at a remote outpost on the Mexican border, and his plan to hide from the outside world gets upended when he meets a young mutant played by the debuting Daphne Keane, who is very much like him. So because of this, Logan must now protect the girl and battle the dark forces that want to capture her. And like I said, Logan is the first movie starring Wolverine to be rated R. That is exactly what I want out of a Wolverine movie in terms of its action and its violence. I talked about the first Wolverine movie from 2013, and I feel like that was the only thing that was missing. Just a little bit more blood, a little bit more brutality. This movie gives it to you. Like, good lord, there is red viscous fluid everywhere. You could practically see it on the camera lens. Limbs are getting chopped off, a head is thrown at somebody. There's a slow motion sequence involving Professor X having a telepathic episode because he doesn't have his meds. And that scene is so deliciously brutal. Wait, deliciously brutal? I sound like a heathen. But honestly, in terms of the drama and the emotion in Logan, this one does not miss a step. And you can also sense a greater deal of urgency in this comic book movie because, as I mentioned, Logan is a much older, grounded, and weathered person. I don't think there's one sequence in this movie where I didn't see Hugh Jackman not annoyed or just tired. And it's like he doesn't want to take the Wolvie claws out of his hands because it hurts. And you feel that pain with him. He also starts taking jobs as a limo driver, which is how he meets the young girl. And him holding the job as a limo driver is what allows him to actually get the money that he needs to go and give the medicine to Professor X. So great screenplay all around. All these moving pieces fit together perfectly. Hugh Jackman is such a badass as Logan. For what he claimed was his final performance as this character, he knocked a home run. And every single time he dons those claws, he does not miss the assignment. He is jacked out the gills in this thing. The facial hair is on point as well. Like, you see what I'm saying why nobody else could play this part? Because Hugh Jackman just gets it. I think the script as a whole absolutely gets this material. It is very self-referential, which could be a detriment to the movie, but it actually is a very refreshing little spike of comedy in what is a very grim movie. I can give you an example. The X-Men comics are actually a thing in this universe, and Logan keeps going on and on about how much bullshit it is. Like, I don't know why. That's just really funny to me. I mentioned it's also a very grim and dramatic comic book movie. It is very unlike anything else you'll probably ever see from Marvel. It really does feel to me like James Mangold wanted to get that Western aesthetic for this. This is the guy who gave you the remake of 3:10 to Yuma, which I still think is incredibly underrated. And you really want to hammer home the Western genre in Logan? They actually show you a scene where the characters are in a hotel watching the movie Shane. If that doesn't tell you this movie's a Western, I don't know what does. There's not one weak link in the acting department here. Patrick Stewart is a freaking genius. Like, the world does not deserve that man. Young Daphne Keane is really impressive in this movie. Still, this performance holds up. Like, especially for a child performer, you could sense the panic and that she understands the material and the situation. Like, even Stephen Merchant is in this movie, and he's really solid. Got a really fun makeup design as well. I feel like if I were to nitpick a couple of things about Logan, I wish the villains got a little bit more development aside from just being these cookie-cutter bad guys. Like I said, it's not like Boyd Holbrook as the antagonist gives a bad performance at all. They just kind of feel like they're there in the middle of everything. And I especially felt that a little bit more on this rewatch. And I'll also tell you that this movie does go down the road trip movie pattern. The second act can seem to drag a little bit with this very beefy runtime, but you still get some very entertaining moments along the way. Like, how about when Logan and his crew stop at the gas station and then this little girl starts eating Pringles out of the can and the employee says, "Hey, you gotta pay for it." And then she threatens him in a way that he didn't expect to be threatened that day, I'm sure. And Logan constantly has has to tell her, no mas. Like, again, also, you have that language barrier in between Logan and this girl who speaks only Spanish, really. It adds a whole new layer of difficulty to the situation, too. Because you can feel that in Logan. This plot is a very difficult plot, but it's a masterfully crafted movie. And I will say the third act and the ultimate finale and the resolution and the ultimate farewell, as it were, to Logan and Hugh Jackman as Logan, in hindsight, it doesn't really hit me as emotionally resonant as it used to, especially knowing that Hugh Jackman is in fact coming back in Deadpool and Wolverine in a couple weeks. God, get here sooner, for more reasons than one. But I will admit, seeing Hugh Jackman actually spiked up on that old decrepit log, and him dying in what turns out to be his daughter's arms, God, I don't think if you at least shed a tear at that moment where she's hugging her father, like, you don't have a pulse, and your heart is probably concretely made of stone. Overall, I think Logan is one of the best entries into the overall X-Men movie series. I think it's easily the best solo Wolverine movie we've gotten so far. Hugh Jackman is such a badass in this. And James Mangold, man, he's one of my favorite directors. And when people ask me why, I typically point them to Logan. It is a very bleak environment, but I think it's still a very rewarding experience if you watch this, especially as a comic book movie fan. And leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine, I highly recommend that you guys check this out beforehand. I'm gonna give Logan an A-. So yeah, with that said, stay tuned for my review of Deadpool 2 hitting this channel very soon, and a couple of channel updates for you guys real quick. On a personal note, you can sense that you can probably hear it. I'm sick in this video, because I'm actually in the process of going through COVID right now. Yep, 4 years strong, and the vid finally got me. But I plan on beating this thing very, very soon, and you guys will see me at the movie theaters in no time. I mean, I have to. I have Twisters and Deadpool and Wolverine both coming out soon. So to answer your guys' question, no, I'm not going to be watching either Fly Me to the Moon or Longlegs this weekend, which I was really looking forward to the latter after all that hype. But my health comes first, and those reviews will have to wait. Fear not, though, friends. I have some fun content planned for you while I'm holed up at the house here for a little bit. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button while you can. Hit that thumbs up as well if you'd like to see more. Thank you to everybody again who reached out to me asking me how I was doing. It really, really does mean a ton that you guys really care that much. Like, seriously, like, I don't have the words. You guys are awesome. So with all that in mind, back talk commence.